Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to our live reading from the Krishna book. We are on chapter 14, Prayers Offered by Lord Brahma to Lord Krishna. So yesterday we finished our reading when we were reading the Brahmaji's prayer, how he was describing that the devotional service is the only thing which has got such a wonderful effect, which can bring us near to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And today is the Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath, Lord Baldev and Subhadra Mata. So on this auspicious day, let's begin our reading from where we left yesterday. Therefore, my Lord, I pray that I may be so fortunate that in this life or in another life, wherever I may take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. Wherever I may be, I pray that I may be engaged in your devotional service. I do not even care what form of life I get in the future, because I can see that even in the form of cows and calves or cowherd boys, the devotees are so fortunate to be always engaged in your transcendental loving service and association. Therefore, I wish to be one of them instead of such an exalted person as I am now, for I am full of ignorance. The gopis and the cows of Vrindavan are so fortunate that they have been able to supply their breast milk to you. Persons who are engaged in performing great sacrifices and offering many valuable goats in sacrifice cannot attain the perfection of understanding you. But simply by devotional service, these innocent village women and cows are all able to satisfy you with their milk. You have drunk their milk to satisfaction, yet you are never satisfied as much by those engaged in performing sacrifices. I am simply surprised, therefore, with the fortunate position of Maharaj Nanda, Mother Yashoda, and the cowherd men and gopis. Because of you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, are existing here as their most intimate, lovable object. My dear Lord, no one can actually appreciate the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan. We are all demigods, controlling deities of various senses of living entities. And we are proud of enjoying such privileges. So Lord Brahma is describing here the demigods, which is the Devi Devatas. They are just the deities who are actually controlling the senses of all the human beings by supplying them whatever the human beings are asking from those Devi Devatas. And we are proud of enjoying such privileges, but actually there is no comparison between our position and the position of these fortunate residents of Vrindavan, because they are actually relishing your presence and enjoying your association by dint of their sensory activities. We may be proud of being controllers of the senses, but here the residents of Vrindavan are so transcendental that they are not under our control. Actually, they are enjoying the senses through service to you. I shall therefore consider myself fortunate to be given a chance to take birth in this land of Vrindavan in any of my future lives. My dear Lord, I am therefore not interested in either material opulences or liberation. I am most humbly praying at your lotus feet for you to please give me any sort of birth within this Vrindavan forest, so that I may be able to be favored by the dust of the feet of some of the devotees of Vrindavan. If I am given the chance to grow as a humble blade of grass in this land, that would be a glorious birth for me. But if I am not so fortunate to take birth within the forest of Vrindavan, I beg to be allowed to take birth outside the immediate area of Vrindavan, so that when the devotees go out, they will walk over me. Even that would be a great fortune for me. I am just aspiring for a birth in which I will be smeared by the dust of the devotees' feet, because I can see that everyone here is simply full of Krishna consciousness. No one can here actually know anything but the lotus feet of Krishna or Mukunda, for which the Vedas themselves are searching. So Brahmaji has actually narrated us the importance of the land of Vrindavan. That's why it is so important for us devotees. When we go there, we shouldn't try to see from our material eyes, but from the eyes of the Vedas or the prayers of the exalted entities like Lord Brahma. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that the purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find Krishna, and it is said in the Brahma Samhita that it is very difficult to find Krishna in the Supreme Personality of Godhead by systematic reading of the Vedic literature, but he is very easily available through the mercy of a pure devotee. The pure devotees of Vrindavan are fortunate because they can see Mukunda, Lord Krishna, all the time. This word Mukunda can be understood in two ways. Muk means liberation. Lord Krishna can give liberation and therefore transcendental bliss. The word also refers to his smiling face, which is just like the Kunda flower. Mukha means face. The Kunda flower is very beautiful and it appears to be smiling. Thus the comparison is made. Mukunda. The difference between the pure devotees of Vrindavan and devotees in other places is that the residents of Vrindavan have no other desire but to be associated with Krishna. Krishna, being very kind to his devotees, fulfills their desire because they always want Krishna's association. The Lord is always prepared to give it to them. The devotees of Vrindavan are also spontaneous lovers. They are not required to strictly follow the regulative principles because they are already naturally developed in transcendental love for Krishna. Regulative principles are required for persons who have not achieved such a position of spontaneous love. Brahma is also a devotee of Lord, but he is an ordinary devotee subject to following regulative principles. He prays to Krishna to give him the chance to take birth in Vrindavan so that he might be elevated to the platform of spontaneous love. So this is what we all are practicing as devotees of Krishna. We are practicing the regulative principles in our bhakti. And one day, hopefully, when this becomes our unalloyed nature, then it will be the spontaneous love of Krishna amongst us. Lord Brahma continued, "My Lord, sometimes I am puzzled as to how your lordships will be able to repay in gratitude the devotional service of these residents of Vrindavan. Although I know that you are the supreme source of all benedictions, I am puzzled to know how you will be able to repay all the service that you are receiving from these residents of Vrindavan. I think of how you are so kind, so magnanimous that even Putana, who came to cheat you by dressing herself as a very affectionate mother, was awarded liberation and the actual post of a mother. And other demons belonging to the same family, such as Agasur and Bakasur, were also favored with liberation and achieved you. Under the circumstances, I am puzzled. These residents of Vrindavan have given you everything: their bodies, their minds, their love, their homes, their possessions. Everything is being utilized for your purpose. So how will you be able to repay your debt to them? You have already given yourself to Putana. I surmise that you shall ever remain a debtor to the residents of Vrindavan, being unable to repay for their loving service. My Lord, I can understand that the super excellent quality of the service rendered by the residents of Vrindavan is due to their spontaneously engaging in all natural instincts in your loving service. It is said that attachment for material objects and home is due to illusion, which makes a living entity conditioned in the material world. But this is only the case for persons who are not Krishna consciousness, who are not Krishna conscious. In the case of the residents of Vrindavan, such obstructions as attachments to hearth and home are non-existent. Because their attachment has been directed unto you and their homes have been converted into temples by your constant presence there. And because they have forgotten everything for your sake, there is no impediment. For a Krishna conscious person, there is no such thing as impediments due to attachment for hearth and home, nor is there illusion. I can also understand that your appearance as a small cowherd boy, a child of the cowherd men, is not at all a material activity. You are so much obliged by their affection that you are here to inspire them with more loving service by your transcendental presence. In Vrindavan, there is no distinction between material and spiritual because everything is dedicated to your loving service. My dear Lord, your Vrindavan pastimes are simply to inspire your devotees. If someone takes your Vrindavan pastimes to be material, he will be misled. My dear Lord Krishna, those who deride you claiming that you have a material body like an ordinary man, are described in the Bhagavad Gita as demoniac and less intelligent. You are always transcendental. The non-devotees are cheated because they consider you to be a material creation. Actually, you have assumed this body, which exactly resembles that of an ordinary cowherd boy, simply to increase the devotion and transcendental bliss of your devotees. My dear Lord, I have nothing to say about people who advertise that they have already realized God, or that by their realization they have themselves become God. But as far as I am concerned, I admit frankly that for me it is not possible to realize you by my body, mind, or speech. What can I say about you, or how can I realize you by my senses? I cannot even think of you perfectly with my mind, which is master of the senses. Your qualities, your activities, and your body cannot be conceived by any person within this material world. Only by the mercy can one understand to some extent what you are. My dear Lord, you are the supreme Lord of all creation. Although I sometimes falsely think that I am the master of this universe, I may be the master of this universe, but there are innumerable universes, and there are innumerable Brahmas also, who preside over these universes. But actually you are the master of them all. As the super soul is in everyone's heart, you know everything. Please therefore accept me as your surrendered servant. I hope that you will excuse me for committing the great offense of disturbing you in your pastimes with your friends and calves. Now, if you will kindly allow me, I will immediately leave so you can enjoy your friends and calves without my presence. My dear Lord Krishna, your very name suggests that you are all attractive. The attraction of the sun and the moon are all due to you. By the attraction of the sun, you are beautifying the very existence of the Yadu dynasty. With the attraction of the moon, you are enhancing the potency of the land, the demigods, the brahmanas, the cows and the oceans. Because of your supreme attraction, demons like Kamsa and others are annihilated. Therefore, it is my deliberate conclusion that you are the only worshipable deity within the creation. Accept my humble obeisances until the annihilation of this material world, as long as there is sunshine within this material world. Kindly accept my obeisances. So we haven't finished this chapter yet. We shall finish this on Monday. So Brahmaji has described the Supreme Lord so beautifully to us, and the importance of the birth of the various gopis and gopas in the land of Vraja, along with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself, and how devotional service is so important for us. So we should try to make our homes temples of Krishna, where we don't have to think much about how we're going to perform. Just in leading our daily life, we should be able to give all the service to the lordships, whether it is from waking up the lordships in the morning, or to serving them nice bhoga and looking after their other needs, providing them with small cups of water, giving them fans according to the season. So when it is hot season, you give the alongside the chamara, which is made of the yak tail, you give the peacock feather fan as well. And you can decorate your deities as per as your bhava. And once we understand a little bit about Krishna, he guides us from within our hearts how to go about inquiring about him and how to serve him. And the association of the devotees leads us slowly into the finding of a bona fide spiritual master. And spiritual master, he guides us properly into the rest of the devotional life. So I wish you all a very blissful weekend. We shall meet again on Monday. Hare Krishna.